Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Inner Conquest, the world's greatest modern metaphysics channel. I'm your host, Jacob Edens, and today we're going to talk about hell realms. Hell yes, dude. So when you have your consciousness, right, what you do is you occupy states. So states are essentially, you can think of like a unified field of awareness that encompass a certain parameter of reality. So if I embody a state of wealth, then I am in a mood, attitude, chronic habitual feeling state of abundance, plenty, being able to do what I want to do financially with an element of freedom. If I'm in a state of poverty, what that means is I'm in a constricted type of energy where there's worry, there's fear about money coming in, there's never enough, there's a chronic habitual worrying type of attitude or mood, right? So what happens is we go through life and we get into these hell realms, which are basically chronic states of non-fulfillment. And we try to fix everything on the outside, right? It's like if you have a cancer in you, but then you put on makeup to try to make yourself look better, right? You're going to feel better in the short term, but the root thing needs to be destroyed. So when you look at states, right, what you're doing by working on understanding metaphysics is you're understanding that the states precede the actual external world, right? So most of the time people go and they try to make more money or they try to get a better person or whatever. And the idea is that if that external condition changes, then they will feel better once that has come to pass. Now, the issue with that is if you have a chronic state of non-fulfillment and you use a lot of willpower externally to get that thing, and you still have that internal state that is a mismatch to that thing will now be in conflict with who you are. So you want to make sure that your internal state, your day-to-day operative awareness is focused completely on wanted and fulfilled states. And it's a pretty easy thing to train once you kind of understand what that means, right? So when you look at something like, I'll use an example. I play a video game named Starfield. So Starfield's a space game, and the cool thing about Starfield is that you can download what are called user-made mods for the game. So basically, if you have a spaceship, you can download like some dude will make like better guns for the spaceship, and then for free you can download that and you can put it on the Xbox, right? So they had this one mod that I wanted, which was like a galaxy map or some shit, and it was only on PC. And I wanted it on the Xbox, right? So you have two options. You could either message the fucking guy and be like, hey, dude, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, right? You can take action in the third dimension. You can go and like try to sell him, do your case. Or you can appropriate the state as if it were done. So what I did, instead of going down this whole rigmarole of like taking a bunch of action, do a bunch of shit, because I actually did that for like months. It wasn't important to me, but like, you know, months I'd like message you, be like, hey, why isn't this on Xbox? Like, it's 2 clicks, you can do it. I just felt like I had it. So instead of going down the linear path, what I would do is I would just, every time I played that game, I would just imagine that it was already installed. I would just pretend in my fucking mind like it was already there, and I would focus on the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And the feeling of the wish fulfilled from a vibratory standpoint is much different than a desirous standpoint, right? So if you want a car, you're thinking about how you're going to get it, versus if you have the car, if you've ever owned a car, you understand that it's not something that you think about all the time. It's a latent ownership of it. It's a non-contested ownership of something. Like if I own this pen, there's not like need for affirmation to reassure myself that I own it. It's just a knowing that I own it. So I went into that space of knowing that it was already done, and I just played the game like it was already installed, right? I just, every time I would go into that part of the map, I would pretend like it was already there. And what happens is the dude who hasn't reached out for 6 months just immediately sees my comment and he's like, hey man, oh yeah, I just uploaded it for you. Now you can go check it out. And that's just a small thing, but when you take the microcosms and you put them to the macrocosms, you're like, holy shit, I can do that with my bank balance too, right? So it's like understanding the implication of living in wish fulfillment gives you the ability to not just modify a video game, you can modify your entire life by using that process. And the process is very simple, right? I always use car keys because most people have a car, most people have seen car keys. If you have car keys, right, you know you're identified with them, right? These are my car keys. I have them. They're downstairs, but I don't see them right now, but I know I have them, right? So you want to take that same type of feeling state anytime you're in an unfavorable state, which I call a hell realm, and you want to trade it out. You want to choose that different state. So if you're in a state of like not enough, or you have body image shit where you're trying to like look better, or you're trying to do better in a career, whatever your fucking ailment is, right? You just take that and you just trade it for that feeling state of fulfillment. Now, this is where discipline comes in, but the thing is discipline is just revisiting the state over and over and over again. And I always use the analogy, if you have the attention span to look at a phone for fucking 8 hours a day, you have the attention span to create anything in your world that you want through focusing on feeling states, right? Everything's reframing. Nobody has lack of attention. You always are focused on something. You cannot not be focused on something. So if you have the ability to look at a phone for 8 hours a day, you have the ability to focus on a feeling of a wish fulfilled until it crystallizes into your reality. So you take any type of realm, right? Any type of state that is unfavorable, that's causing you pain, and you just go, cool, I'm choosing to occupy this state. Now, the confidence in which you feel secure moving to wanted states is based off of the knowledge that states precede manifestations. And that can take a little bit of time to really digest, because you're like, holy fuck, I'm in a matrix. Once you understand that the state of consciousness precedes the actual external third dimensional manifestation, you'll be much more interested in the state than the thing, because you know that the thing is a byproduct of the state. So you want to start working in the root of all causation. So when you work in the root of all causation, what you have to remember are there are a couple of different things that are important. The most important thing is the I amness. Who am I being? Am I being the ideal version of myself? If my chief objective is to be stupid fucking rich, and I'm entertaining a state of worrying about how I'm going to pay for something, it's a direct misalignment of a state, right? And you don't judge yourself for it. You treat it like fucking a video game. Okay, if I'm trying to go to point A, are all of my ducks in a row? And the only thing that'll stop you from leaving that state is guilt, shame, or thick identification to it, like really indoctrinated identification. Because if you have a subconscious belief that you need to suffer to make money, or you need to work hard to do something, or you need to have some condition met, and you're perpetually not meeting that condition, then you can stick yourself into that loop by shame and guilt. And that's really what creates hell states, is you're like, you shouldn't be doing something, but you're doing it, but it's all you. So you have to realize that it's like, first off, if you enter a state when you're unconscious, it's not that you're blameless because you did it, but you were fucking asleep. So it's like you couldn't even have changed it if you wanted to. So like, who gives a fuck? Now it's time to get out of it. Don't even spend one more second in it, because it's not going to benefit you in any way. So once you remove all of that shame and guilt from being in a hell realm or an unwanted state, you just simply go, well, that fucking sucked. All right, now what do I want? And then you focus as if the feeling state in that fourth dimensional reality, much like if I have car keys downstairs in the little bowl where my keys are, right now in my mind, I can access a mental image of that without being there. And I can pick the car keys up in my mind, and I can feel the little tooth marks where the dog thought it was a chew toy and chewed the shit out of my keys. And I can have that in my hand, in my mind right now. So that's a state of having, right? It's a state of having something. Now, can I take that same state and put $50, $100 bills in my hand and have that as well? Well, okay, when I do that, sometimes my mind will attack me and be like, well, you don't have that because you've never had that in physicality. You've had your car keys before, but that's the same fucking part of your brain that's always trying to talk you out of shit. So you have to shut off that part of your brain, be like, cool, man, appreciate your input. This is what I fucking have. And then you sit in that state and you replay that over and over and over again until it has the same amount of real feeling, emotion behind it. until it feels as normal and natural as having your car keys. That's your only job with using imaginative acts, is to completely normalize them. If you focus on just normalizing the feeling state, the thing comes way, way faster, right? And when you normalize that state, now you have a concrete objective goal of how much or how little to basically do that practice. And anytime you have a thought of like, oh, fuck, I don't have it, I need to do more, that's a really good indicator that it has not been normalized yet. And you don't judge that. You don't beat yourself up. You just go, cool, time to remember who I am, time to remember what I have, time to remember what's great about this, right? And anytime you have something that doesn't go your way, or you see something that you don't want, you're revising that on the spot. You're putting in new information packets into your brain and into your mind of what it looks like to have what you want over and over and over again. Somebody says something that you didn't like, don't fucking do anything externally. Go in your mind, replay it as if they said what you wanted them to say over and over and over again. And what that does is that develops the faculty of your mind to where now you have safeguards against impressions that are unfavorable. Because if you're unconscious and you walk into a war zone, you're going to become part of the war zone, right? If you are conscious and you go into a war zone, you're like, look at the pretty fucking flowers, I'll be out of here soon, right? You have like the ability to not engage with bullshit that used to normally wrap you up, because all of these different states just want your emotion and they want your attention. So once you have emotional control and you have attention control, now you're in what's called a selector mindset. You're not in a beggar mindset. A beggar mindset is like, well, if I get this, it's good enough. Selector mindset is, no, I select exactly what I want and I get what I want every single time. So you're just evolving into that selector mindset, and then you're becoming indifferent to all the states that used to hold lots of gravitas in your reality. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Click the link tree for badass coaching. On top of that, leave as many comments as you can. They do really well to help promote the videos. I'll answer as many of them as I can. And go conquer. Cheers.